Hi, welcome. My name is Rena Greenberg, and I am so excited to be doing this Healthy Sleep webinar. Thank you so much for joining me. This webinar is going to be packed with information about a topic that I feel like is so relevant, and that is how to get a good night's sleep, restful, rejuvenating sleep, and especially on a non-toxic bed. So I'm very excited that I actually found a bed that is non-toxic, that gives you a great night's sleep. There's a lot of science behind it, a lot of research, and I'm really thrilled because the bed is the IntelliBed, as you can see from the slide, and I have one of the founders of IntelliBed here today, Sean Clark. He's an incredible man, and this bed is so innovative and really has made a difference for millions of people. And I'm excited because Sean Clark is here today to talk with you, to tell you a little bit more about really the science and the mechanics of the bed. So let's get started. There's a lot of great information that I want to share with you because sleep, of course, is such an important component, such an important factor in our health, in our mental, physical, and emotional health. Now, there are so many studies out there that talk about the importance of a good night's sleep. And as most of you know, I mean, my passion, of course, is health. And such an important component for health that I always talk about is maintaining a healthy weight. I mean, obviously, it's not about being skinny. It's really just about being healthy and choosing the foods that are going to nourish and sustain you. But I was so really excited to discover the link between being overweight and not getting enough sleep, not getting enough deep sleep. So we know the 4 keys to weight loss, and we always hear, okay, we've got to eat less, we have to eat healthier foods, we have to be active. We know about that, but a lot of times we don't give enough value to the 4th most important factor when it comes to living at, maintaining your healthy weight and being healthy, and that is getting enough sleep. So if you're looking at the slide with me here, it's interesting. A study done at Columbia University found that people who sleep less than 7 hours per night, they're heavier. And not only that, but they continue to gain more weight consistently, and as many of you know, they find it more difficult to lose weight. Another study done at Columbia University found that there were differences in brain function between people who are tired during the day and those who are well rested. So unhealthy food actually activates a region of the brain known as the insular cortex. And for people who aren't well rested, this is going to actually increase your desire for sweet, salty, or oily food. So isn't that interesting that not getting enough sleep, it's more than just, oh, you're kind of tired or sluggish during the day, but it can actually contribute to cravings for unhealthy foods. So how poor sleep keeps you overweight? Well, the longer you're up, the more you eat. And again, there are many studies that really point to this. For example, a study at Harvard Medical School, they actually used brain scans in men and women who were tired during the day. And what the research proved that being sleep deprived actually lowered people's inhibitions and increased the likelihood of overeating. So to put it simply, when you're tired, you're likely to make bad food choices. You're likely to be really impulsive about what to eat. Also, a study at University of Pennsylvania concluded that the longer you're up, the more you eat. And it's interesting, they did a study with 2 groups of people. One group slept only 4 hours. The other group slept 7 hours per night. This was a 7-day study. And what they discovered is that the group that slept only 4 hours actually gained weight, while the other group didn't, and that was the only difference. And what that amounted to in that study at University of Pennsylvania, they concluded was it's because of the night eating. And many of you, I know I get so many people who tell me, hey, I hardly eat during the day, I'm good all day, and then at night it's just a free-for-all. Well, part of the problem is you're not in bed. But we're going to talk about that more, especially with Sean, about how important it is to be in a bed where you're comfortable, where you can have deep, restful, restorative sleep, and in a non-toxic environment. And that is a huge concern for me because, as you know, I mean, I am such a strong believer in not only eating non-toxic food, but keeping our environment as non-toxic as possible. And when you think about the amount of time you spend in your bed, that becomes a very important factor. So fatigue and sleep deprivation make you want to eat more. Why? Well, for energy and to control your mood. So that's obvious. Now, another really interesting study that I found that was conducted at the University of Chicago concluded that not only do people who are less tired eat less, but they actually burn more fat. That really surprised me. I didn't realize it. But this study showed that when people are sleep deprived, even when they do lose weight, it's mostly water weight. Isn't that interesting? Whereas when people sleep more and they lose weight, they're actually losing fat. So this is just so much information that points to the fact that we need good, restorative, restful sleep for health and to combat this epidemic of obesity. So there's really strong links here. In fact, the Journal of Obesity took 2 groups of men, fed them both a big meal, made sure they weren't hungry, sent them both to the grocery store. Do you know that the sleep-deprived men ended up getting more than 1,200 more calories worth of food than the men who got plenty of good deep sleep? Incredible. 1,200 more calories. I mean, that's a lot. Similarly, a Swedish study proved that people who don't get enough sleep consume larger portions of food than people who are well rested. So the research is done, and we see it all over, coming from so many angles, and that is the indisputable fact that we need deep, restful, restorative sleep. So here are some tips for falling asleep and staying asleep, because that is really the important thing, is retraining your body and your mind to fall asleep and stay asleep. Okay, so you can see from all these studies that I've talked about how disrupted sleep influences the types of foods you choose and how much you eat. And, you know, it's not just about weight. It's well recognized that food intake, it's implicated in so many chronic health issues: obesity, diabetes, heart disease, stroke. And it's interesting because food intake is driven by biological, by cognitive, by environmental factors, and disrupted sleep patterns affect all of these areas. So researchers at the University of Nebraska actually concluded that all these mechanisms, the cognitive function, the environmental factors, all of them are heavily altered and influenced by our sleep patterns. So, for example, after a bad night's sleep, the hormone-controlling appetite is affected, emotional stress is greater, more food is desired to compensate for lack of energy, and, as we talked about before, impulsivity is increased, all of which affect the amount of food that you're going to consume in a day. So sleep has to actively be considered in efforts to modify eating and dietary behavior. So it's not just about, you know, going on another diet. You and I know that doesn't work. So yes, I talk a lot about changing our thinking, helping yourself to relax before you go to bed at night. As you know, I have a great sleep CD to help you to practice the self-hypnosis. But we have to remember that not having enough sleep and not having enough restorative sleep is one of the most overlooked factors when it comes to the quality and quantity of food that we're consuming. So to talk about that, I'm so excited to have Sean Clark here today with me on this webinar. Sean is actually one of the founders and a board member of IntelliBed, and he is a graduate of University of California, Irvine, with degrees in economics and math. He's also a published author, and he was a director of new product development for 2 Fortune 500 companies, and he's consulted with some of the largest retail mattress companies, including Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, before he co-founded IntelliBed with his partner, Bob Rasmussen. So he really knows sleep, he understands it, And Sean's going to explain to us now how IntelliBed has worked with leading doctors. And this is what I love about it. They worked with leading doctors and material suppliers to design and test. There's been so much testing done that he's going to talk about, and perfect a new type of mattress that sleeps better and lasts longer than any other product on the market today. So hello, Sean. I'm thrilled to be here today with you.
Oh, hi, Rena. I'm happy to be here. That was a great introduction. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
You know, when my partner and I founded the business, we really we wanted to create a sleep surface for people who couldn't sleep on a regular mattress.
Mm-hmm.
People who were, they would sleep 3 or 4 hours at a time in their easy chair because they just couldn't lay down and sleep at all in a horizontal position. Um, so
Wow.
in working with doctors to understand why we sleep and what it would take to get these really problem cases to be able to sleep, we learn more about sleep and how you support the body during the sleep than anywhere that you'll find basically in the world. And we've been doing this for 18 years now, and it's amazing when you think about it, the linkage that your sleep surface, your mattress has to the quality of your sleep. So what I'd like to do is to briefly cover some of these major points with your audience and what we learned and how we've incorporated that now into a complete mattress line for the entire family, from a really problem sleeper with a terrible back problem to a regular person who just really wants to get as much good deep healing sleep as they can get, to their kids who are growing and really need the benefits and the growth hormones, and to babies who basically come into the world and need a healthy sleep surface in which to spend 18 hours a day on. So without further ado, I'll start and just explain that what the doctors, we learned from the doctors, is there's three things that the ideal mattress has to do.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it has to support your body properly. And what we mean by that is it has to push the hips up into proper alignment with your shoulders. You can have a very soft bed that's a feather bed. Or, Rena, have you ever laid down on a bed that just felt like it would be so comfortable because it was so soft?
Yeah.
Then you woke up the next morning or sometime during the night and you could hardly walk.
Exactly. Yes.
And what's happening there is that is your spine is not being properly supported. It's allowed to relax into the mattress too far, and that will cause a bad back. That's why water beds were once the rage, and then they went out of favor when it became clear that they were not giving proper support.
Right.
Now, the second thing you do that a mattress has to do after it pushes your spine or your hips up into alignment with your shoulders, it has to relieve pressure. Our body is set up such that we move, when we feel pressure, we move off of it because it cuts the flow of oxygen to the skin level. And when that happens, we start to develop a bed sore or a pressure sore. And so our central nervous system, what we do is we actually move. You know, our internally our central nervous system through our brain tells our body to move. You can shift in your chair or whatever. Um, so when we're talking pressure relief in a mattress, we're talking comfort, but we're also talking uh, reducing tossing and turning, because every time we move during sleep, we leave deep healing level sleep and almost wake up to do it. And so if we're tossing and turning and moving, doing an uncomfortable sleep surface, we're robbing ourselves of the deep healing sleep. And the third thing that a good mattress, the ideal mattress it has to be made of healthy materials, because we're breathing and our the off gassing from the materials, and we're also our brain stem is right in the bed. And these are parts of your body that if you're around any toxic materials, it's very unhealthy. Also, when we go into sleep, it's called a parenthetic state. And our brain really takes over, it starts healing our body, but it also reduces all of our immune systems and some of our hormones. And so if we're not in a situation where we're sleeping on healthy materials, we become very susceptible to toxicity and to the harmful effects that we can get from some of these materials.
Mm.
Now, what I'd like to do is to kind of tell you where the modern mattress is, and most of us we see the advertising, we see Sealy, Serta, Tempur-Pedic, Sleep Number, etc. All of these products, we analyze the materials used, and essentially they're made with foam. In the old days, mattresses used to be made with steel springs and cotton, and they were really quite a good product. They would wear and perform properly for 20, 25 years.
Mm.
That's all been replaced today with synthetic foams. And the foams that are used for cushioning are in all of these standard retail mattress products. And we're going to get into the problems with these kinds of foams and the types. We have memory foam, which is a lot of people are familiar with because it came out of the NASA space age um, development. And it was meant to cushion the astronaut through through G-force when they were going out of the atmosphere, but it was never used in the space capsule because it was too toxic. However, it is used prominently in very expensive mattresses right now. We have convoluted polyurethane foam, which is almost in every mattress, and that's the pillow type of foam. We have an inner spring or some type of a spring set in a lot of mattresses, and then we have mattresses that are uh, were developed uh, replacing the springs with foam or with air. Um, all of these materials were basically from the 1960s, so they're 60 years old. And we like to ask people, "Are you still using a typewriter and a rotary phone today?" And obviously, it's a silly
Yeah.
question. Now, the other problem with phone, it's not just that it's an old technology, but it breaks down. We do a standard test on all the materials and simulate the wear. And foam wears just like the tires do on your car. As you sleep and use the bed, the foam changes. And
Yeah.
these foams change up to 25% during the first couple of years that they're used. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
You're continually sleeping on a different product is the problem. And as they change, they lose their ability to push the hips up into alignment to give you the proper support. They also lose the ability to cushion. So you start to wake up in pain or you feel numbness. You start to, realize I'm not sleeping quite as well as I used to. Most of us think that's because we're getting older. They think that, or we're not taking good enough care of ourselves. Like your tips are excellent tips, but unfortunately, most of us are guilty of, or feel guilty because we know we're not doing everything we could do to, take good care of ourselves or to be the ideal weight, for instance. So we we accept a lot of sleep issues while our mattress is changing, thinking that it's our fault. And if we would just, you know, be more diligent, it wouldn't be a problem. Well, I'm here to tell your audience that the problem is really the mattress. The materials they're sleeping on, we developed, we just can't use those in our wellness medical grade quality product. And here's some reasons why. Um, Even if we're in perfect condition, our hip area tends to be heavier than our shoulder area. And that's the way that the human body is formed. And
Hmm.
that means that gravity is pulling, when we lay down, gravity is trying to pull our hips further into the sleep surface than our shoulders.
Mm.
And so, unless we have some springs or some spring like device in the mattress to push the hips up into proper alignment, we are slouching all day. It's just like, we're told to stand up straight and sit up straight. Well, at night, we need to keep that same relationship.
Yeah.
Then the second thing that happens is tossing and turning. And I mentioned that a little bit earlier. We all know that you do that, but it's not evident that it has a tremendous impact on our health because there's four stages of sleep and then there's rapid eye movement. In the third and fourth stage of sleep, that's delta sleep, where your brain actually becomes engaged in healing and repairing your body. Now, the problem is every time you have to move during the night, you are interrupted. That deep sleep is interrupted because your brain is told to move. You know, my right shoulder is in pain. It's going to start to kill the skin level because I'm not getting proper circulation. You need to move. And when you do that, it interrupts stage 3 and 4, and you go back to level 1 sleep, near wakefulness, and you move. But then you have to reestablish the sleep cycle again to get back down to level 3 and 4, where your brain is engaged in the healing process. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things we noticed right away, my husband and I, is that we just weren't tossing and turning anymore. We were really getting that deep sleep.
In fact, our technology reduces pressure by 80%, and we see a correlated drop in the movement. And many people, the first night they sleep on our beds, wake up in the same position they went to sleep in. They don't move all night long, which is incredible. Then the other thing that people are told today is that foam is great because it contours to your body. Well, unfortunately, that's not a good thing because it also becomes hard under your hip and shoulder area, and it fails to push your hips up into the proper position because it's allowing your body to conform into the foam. And you really need you don't want your body in its natural shape to be allowed to stay that way when you're trying to sleep. Otherwise, you're in a misaligned position. So, any of your audience will wake up in the morning when they feel tingling, numbness. A lot of people actually have pain. By the time they wake up, they've moved so much that they can't find a position that they can really sleep in. So the pain wakes them up in the morning. Um, Now, this is really amazing, and this is something that has become, over the last 5 years or so, even more problematic, and this is toxic materials. Studies show that most of these foam mattresses emit more toxins every night than a freshly painted room does. And because you can't smell them after a while with a new mattress, that mattress is wearing out and is putting out these toxins. Now, you know, our federal government about 6 years ago required that every mattress company pass what they called the burn test, where you set your mattress on fire and it has to put itself out within 30 seconds. And we can't sell a mattress in the United States unless it can pass that burn test. That means that fire retardants have to be used in mattresses. And the cheapest fire retardants are sprays of boric acid and things like asbestos and formaldehyde. Now, this is an extremely unsettling proposition because these are known carcinogens. You're being exposed to them nightly, and they continue to emit off-gassing and toxicity that is extremely harmful, especially to older people, to babies, and to children. So how did we solve some of these issues? We had to find a material that would cushion the body properly, but we couldn't use foam. We went into the hospital industry and we found a material that we call it IntelliGel. It's used in burn wards and for bed sore patients. In situations where these people they're so susceptible to infection and that the risk of infection and any kind of toxic material will really cause them to die. And so they were being supported in the burn units with this gel-like material that's actually made from baby oil. It's edible grade material that's completely non-toxic. And we were able to license that material, and we use it in this form that you see the hand going into. It's very rubbery, it's soft, it's not liquid, It has a perfect memory. It'll last 30 years without changing. Many of your audience will know this material because it's also used Dr. Scholl's foot pads
Oh,
made with
yeah.
IntelliGel. And we
Mm.
have the exclusive license to use it in mattresses for the home market in the US and Canada. So the only place you can find this IntelliGel material is in our product line. Um, this next slide shows how IntelliGel basically redistributes weight. It senses a pressure point. And Rena, you mentioned sleeping on IntelliBed that you can't. Number one, you don't move nearly as much, and also you cannot feel your husband when he moves any longer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the way. This is the way the gel works. It has the ability to sense out a pressure point, like under your hip or shoulder, and relax. So it lets your shoulder and your hips sink in, while the rest of the area, all of the other gel cells, stay firm, and they support your body. So we can keep the body in a truly horizontal position on top of the bed, and it really feels when you're sleeping almost like you're suspended. You don't feel like you're down deep into the mattress like you do on all the other foam beds. The other
Yeah.
advantage when we talk about pressure relief, here's an example of the same person. Imagine this is your husband, and we took him and using a $12,000 pressure mapping system, we recorded how his weight is being distributed on different mattresses. This is all computer driven. The uh, the the red areas are severe pressure. You would have to move within 5 minutes, or the skin begins to die, and that's what causes a bed sore or a pressure sore. And so we took that same person and we put him on a Tempur-Pedic, and you see the hip and shoulder area extremely red, an inner spring bed, Sleep Number, which is the air bed that is very popular right now, and then our IntelliGel bed. And you'll see that on the IntelliBed, the sleeper is very light blue, and that's why people can sleep on our bed without moving. And quite often, I'll sleep 5, 6 hours on one side without having to move at all, which is fantastic for getting that deep healing level sleep. The other thing with about IntelliGel is it's so non-toxic. Like I said, it's the same thing as baby oil is. It's actually edible grade. So if you do happen to eat any, because no one eats their mattress, but it's just nice to know that it's that safe, that it's approved for use in baby bottle nipples. So we have this incredible ability to have a cushioning material that is pressure relieving, is non-toxic, completely hypoallergenic, antimicrobial, which means that it doesn't allow bed bugs and mold and those kinds of materials to grow inside your bed. Um, and we were able to commercialize this technology by making it. We bring it in a a big a tank car into our factory as just the baby oil, and then we have manufacturing equipment where we turn it into the gel in house, and then we make all the rest of the bed, and put it together in our factory. And the reason we do that, Rena, these beds in hospital, just for the mattress, a twin size mattress, were $15,000.
Wow.
Using IntelliGel, this stuff it's incredible, but it's very expensive. But we've been able to boil all the cost out of it by bringing it in house. So now we're able to sell a queen mattress for about $3,500, which is less than what people are paying for a memory foam bed or one of the Sleep Number beds. But yet our product performs so much better, and it will last 4 or 5 times longer. Our beds are warranted to last 30 years, and we've tested the material to show that it will last that long. So
Incredible.
what we do is, rather than sell our product in mattress stores, we have a truly a medical grade product. This is if Let's go back to food. There was a natural food time, but you had to go out to the country to buy it from the farmer. and then Whole Foods put in, their grocery stores that were organic and natural, and they really created a place where you could buy all kinds of natural food and trust somebody that it was good stuff. But natural food, you couldn't go to Safeway, regular grocery store in those days and buy it,
Right.
because they had all the
Exactly.
other kind of food.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. It was
It
really tough eating healthfully,
was
even
almost,
10 years ago.
it was
And
almost
that's
impossible.
impossible. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and that's our situation today. Our product doesn't belong in a mattress store beside all these foam beds. Uh, and plus, the retailers don't want our product because our product lasts 30 years. People don't have to
Right.
buy a mattress again. It's
Oh,
like
I know. Exactly. They want to keep you coming.
they want to keep you coming back. So what we do, and we've been doing this now for 18 years. We go through people like yourself who understand the real issues, and then we teach their audience about some of these issues, and then we sell direct, and we have a 60-day in-home trial, risk free. We don't want people stuck with our bed if it doesn't work for them. We're really in the business of helping people sleep better. Um, and we like to work through, folks such as yourself. We have 4 or 5 different versions of our bed in the adult sizes. We have all the regular sizes, cow, king, etc. And then we have a two child's bed, and we have a terrific crib mattress, totally non-toxic. And we believe that SIDS and some of these childhood diseases are clearly, we see research that says are clearly tied to a lot of this toxicity from the materials and the nerve gases that develop within the beds for our babies. But anyway, so we have all this, and it's on our website. So if your followers will go to IntelliBed.com, or if they'll call us, we have sleep consultants who will help them pick the right kind of bed and discuss their situation, whether it's a bad back, fibromyalgia, muscular dystrophy. There's all kinds of sleep-related issues that people have that need advice about. Then I think you'd like to talk. You've
Yeah.
worked with
You
us.
know,
Yeah.
that's really nice that you have consultants available to speak to people because, of course, I know many of you out there have your specific issues and you'd love to get some feedback or some direction. Do you happen to have the phone number, Sean, that people can call for more information?
Yes, they can call it's 888
Hmm.
Gel Beds, GELBEDZ.
Oh, okay, great, great,
And
wonderful.
go to our website, and everything's there on the website as well.
Hmm. Well, Sean, thank you so much. This was so informative, and I was so excited. When I was actually referred to get the IntelliBed, and as soon as I got it, I thought, wow, I really want to share this with other people because I am just such a firm believer in the 4 components to health that we talked about earlier. Sleep being such a primary, important objective for any of us for mental, physical, and emotional health. So I am so excited by your generous offer to all of you out there who are listening and to this webinar. Anyone who is watching this or listening to this, not only can you get the 60-day risk-free trial that Sean was talking about, but the great news is it really is risk-free because if you're not happy with the mattress at the end of 60 days, you actually don't even pay for shipping. They'll actually come and pick up the mattress, but I'm sure that, never happens because you're really going to love it. But when you go to the website and look around and you decide on the IntelliBed, use the promo code Easy Sleep, and you're going to get 10% off of your purchase. And that has been negotiated especially for my readers. So I'm very excited about that. And they so generously offered an extra bonus for right now. I don't know how long this bonus will be in place, but anyone who comes from watching this webinar, so in other words, any of my readers, not only you'll get the bed 10% off, but they're going to throw in 2 free IntelliBed pillows. And believe me, these pillows are amazing. I love these pillows because they're just the perfect firmness, and you can actually change the firm, how puffy they are. And I love that, so that you can actually make the pillow fit for you, you know. And it also comes with a set of bamboo sheets that are so amazingly comfortable. This is a $500 value, and you're going to get those free when you order. Oh, here it's in 30 days. So 30 days, and um, email Jason at IntelliBed.com to get your second coupon code, because this isn't for the general public, so it's not going to be published on the website. But just because you say you're coming from Easy Willpower, so the coupon code's Easy Sleep, and you're going to get the 2 free pillows and the extra set of bamboo sheets plus 10% off on the mattress and 60-day risk-free trial. So it's incredible, Sean. I mean, you've made it so that it'd be almost crazy not to try it.
Rena, our goal is to get everyone sleeping the way they should, because it has such an impact on how we perform and how we feel and how we treat one another as human beings. And so we're very pleased to do this. We're pleased to work through folks like yourself who are really helping people with their health in a way that, 20 years ago, before the internet and so forth existed, people couldn't get this kind of information. So thank you so much for having me today to talk with you and to explain what we've learned over the last 18 years about sleep and the role the right mattress can play in helping you get better sleep.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making it so simple. I love that. I really appreciate that. It's a pleasure. And to those of you who've taken the time to listen, thank you so much. I wish you the best of health and happiness. And I know that proper sleep is going to help you to achieve that goal of health, freedom, wellness, and happiness. Thank you.